Hello everyone, and I hope you guys are doing great. So this is like my first time doing a solo podcast, I'm sorry, not a podcast, solo video after a long time. And shout out to Sharvari. I hope she's doing great. And it feels a bit weird, but like being without her after so long because she's traveling for the time being. And yeah, so like I thought might as well get to do some solo videos for you guys, and hopefully the response is good. Hopefully you guys like it. And yeah, without further ado, like I'll get to today's video, which is actually quite different from the videos I usually make. So today's video is actually an Urdu poem, which I wrote. And quick tip for anyone who's gonna write poetry, because I have written around 100 poems in my life. Uh, don't try to force poetry out of yourself. So, like, poetry has to just naturally arise from your soul, because there are a lot of poems which are like they feel forced in the sense that it's pretty obvious that the narrator or the poet was trying to say something and he forced a rhyming scheme and he forced the sentences to come together, and it doesn't, like, evoke those sensations in him. So without further ado, मेरी आज की पोएम मैंने उर्दू भाषा में करने की कोशिश की है. आई होप लोगों को ये पसंद आएगी. आई थिंक इंडिया में कम ही लोगों को उर्दू इतना समझ में आती है, तो इस वजह से लाइक मैं कई जो वर्ड्स हैं उनके मीनिंग भी बताऊंगा उसके पहले, लेकिन पोएम शुरू हो जाए. तो पोएम का टाइटल है जुल्म ऐलान बगावत. जस्ट स्टार्ट. जुल्म की परछाई में ये जमाना कैसी खामोशी इख्तियार करे बैठा है. न जाने किस कश्ती की फिराक में अपनों को रौंद एक अंधा हुजूम आगे बढ़ चला है. झूठ झूठों की बुनियाद पर ये कैसे हमारे अकीदे हैं. अ, ना तारीख का इल्म और शऊर की किल्लत है. मुनाफिकत की जिंदगी और खोखली इनकी तकरीरें हैं. दो पल की खुशी और थोड़ी सी दौलत के लिए जो अपने पुरुषार्थ को ही बेच दे, उस जमाने से क्या उम्मीद कि वो अपने जमीर की चीखें सुन एला तहरीक ए बगावत पे तुल जाए. अ, ये क्या गुरूर है फिर मेरी ही गर्दन का, जो झुकने से हर बार परहेज करे. काश मेरा जमीर खामोश होता, काश मैं भी इस सब से अनजान होता. पर ये दिल एक ऐसे मंजर पे ले आया, खुदा की तलाश एक सच्चाई दिखा गई. अगर पैगाम खुदा भाई को भाई से तोड़े, तो वो खुदा का कलाम नहीं, शैतान का फरमान है. इस अंधे हुजूम के नाजायज जुल्म से अब ऐलान बगावत होगा. खुदा की तलाश में मेरा जमीर जिंदा रहेगा. So, like, for those people who don't know Urdu or know only a few words, I would like to briefly translate it so that it's pretty understandable to everyone. Zulm ki parchai mein zamana. It is like in the shadow of injustice. Uh, कैसी खामोशी इख्तियार करे बैठा है. What sort of silence has this time or this society adopted in the time where you can clearly see injustice going on. न जाने किस कश्ती की फिराक में अपनों को रौंद एक अंधा हुजूम आगे बढ़ चला है. Like, they don't even know exactly what they're chasing, but in order to chase something that is not even apparent to them, like a blind mob or a blind herd is just hurtling forward, and it is so careless that it is trampling its own beneath its feet. झूठों की बुनियाद पर ये कैसे हमारे अकीदे हैं. Like, what sort of ideologies and ways of thinking have we constructed for ourselves, even though the base of many of these ideologies happens to be completely lies and falsifications and half truths. uh, ना तारीख का इल्म और शऊर की किल्लत है. There is a profound ignorance concerning history, and there is a profound lack of wisdom. मुनाफिकत की जिंदगी और खोखली इनकी तकरीरें हैं. Their lives are full of hypocrisy, and their rhetoric just rings hollow because it is meaningless and purposeless. दो पल की खुशी और थोड़ी सी दौलत के लिए जो for momentary transient pleasure and a little bit of money, that अपने पुरुषार्थ को बेच दे, उस जमाने से क्या उम्मीद? Like a society which is willing to sacrifice. Purusharth is like the higher purpose, higher meaning. So it is like you can call it a self-fulfilled sort of life. So a society which is willing to sacrifice all that for some money and some transient pleasure, what sort of hope can one have from such a society? That कि वो अपने ज़मीर की चीखें सुन तहरीक बगावत पे तुल जाए, that it will listen to the cries of its own conscience, and it will Tehreek Bagawat means like a movement for rebellion. Petul Jai, like it will be compelled to revolt and rebel. ये क्या गुरूर है फिर मेरी ही गर्दन का जो झुकने से हर बार परहेज करे. Then why does only my neck have this arrogance that it does not wish to bow down in supplication? Uh, काश मेरा ज़मीर खामोश होता, काश मैं भी इस सब से अनजान होता. I wish my conscience was silent. Uh, I wish that I was also ignorant, much like the blind mob. पर ये दिल एक ऐसे मंजर पे ले आया, but my heart got me to this stage. खुदा की तलाश सच्चाई दिखा गई, like a search for God revealed the ultimate truth. अगर पैगाम खुदा भाई को भाई से तोड़े, if the message of God seems to divide brother from brother, तो वो खुदा का कलाम नहीं शैतान का फरमान है. And it is not an edict by God, but rather an edict by Satan or the devil himself. इस अंधे हुजूम के नाजायज जुल्म से अब ऐलान बगावत होगा, like this blind mobs against the stupid, senseless, unjustified tyranny of this mob. Now there will be a declaration of revolution. Elan Bagawat. खुदा की तलाश में मेरा ज़मीर जिंदा रहेगा. Like in the search for God, my conscience will not suffocate. I hope you guys like this poem. We live in a time where the spoken word has once again risen to prominence, as prominent maybe as the written word has been for the past 500 years. And like I think one of our earliest pastimes as human beings was to sit around a fire and regale each other with stories and like poets and poems and things like that. And the reason why poetry exists is because the rhyming word, the rhyming scheme makes it easier to remember. So I hope you guys like the poem. Let me know what you felt about the translation. And yeah, I'll just give you a brief glossary of any words, which in case you guys have a reference. Zulm means injustice, परछाई means shadow. कैसी खामोशी इख्तियार करे बैठा है. खामोशी silence, इख्तियार is like to adopt silence. ना जाने किस कश्ती की फिराक में, like kashti is like actually a boat, but it's a poetic metaphor, like in search of which kind of boat on a river, like and yeah, झूठों की बुनियाद पर. I think other words are pretty common. Yeah, zamir is conscience. Manzar is like an ultimate destination. Peham is a message. Kalam and farman are like words for edicts and declarations. Najaiz is like illegitimate. Ailan is like again a declaration. Bagawat is revolution or rebellion, and Tarikh is history. Sha'ur is wisdom. Munafiqat is hypocrisy. Khokla hona is like to be hollow, to lack substance. Taqreer is rhetoric. Uh, Purusharth is from the Bhagavad Gita. It means the thing which leads you to have a self-fulfilled life. So it is the four pillars of a self-fulfilled life according to the Vedic tradition of Hinduism. And Manzar is like again a destination kind of. And Tehreek Bahawat. So Tehreek is like a movement, so like a political movement. So for example, Imran Khan, who's a politician in Pakistan, his party is known as Tehreek Insaf. So yeah, thank you, and like, share, and subscribe.